Good afternoon and welcome to today's session of Imagine America Radio, our continuing Career College Exposition webinar series. My name is Lee Doubleday and I'm the Director of Operations here at the Imagine America Foundation. I'm excited about today's topic, Non-Baccalaureate STEM Career Pathways, sponsored by Universal Technical Institutes, or UTI. UTI is this country's leading provider of high-quality career-focused education at 16 locations nationwide. UTI is also a 21-year sponsor of the Imagine America Scholarship and Award programs, having provided admissions-based financial aid to more than 17,000 enrolling Imagine America students. Without taking valuable time from our presenter, let me refer any and all inquiries about the Imagine America Foundation and how your students can apply for scholarships to attend these institutions to our website, which is www.imagine-america.org. But since our beginning in 1999, Imagine America remains a leading sponsor of scholarship aid to enrolling high school students. However, our country faces a serious shortage in certified technicians. We hear from employers in virtually all sections of the country desperately looking for qualified employees, so we need to do more. Our partner in today's presentation is Universal Technical Institute, and joining us today to discuss in detail the looming technician shortage and how UTI is helping meet this need is Dr. Stephen Coyle. Dr. Coyle is a nationally recognized expert in this area with an extensive K-12 background. But before turning the program over to Dr. Coyle, let me outline today's agenda. Today's session of Imagine America Radio will be 30 minutes maximum, with question and answers at the end of this presentation. All participants can and are encouraged to submit questions while the presentation is in session via the Q&A or the chat feature inside of this Zoom meeting. At the end of the presentation, I'll then present any questions offered by the participants, and we'll address as many questions as possible and provide written responses and follow-up emails if necessary. We will have a hard close at 2:30 p.m. to be respectful of your time. So without taking any more time out of today's presentation, let me turn today's session over to Dr. Coyle. Dr. Coyle, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you, Lee, and thank you all for joining us today. I know you're busy people. You got a lot on your plate and getting close to the holidays, so thanks for taking a few minutes out of your time to spend it with me. I also wanted to thank Lee and the Imagine America Foundation, Bob Martin, for their partnership. They're great people to work with, and you need to get with Imagine America. Their scholarship program is second to none. It's just amazing what they do, especially for the skilled trade CTE program. So thank you, Lee, for all that. So, all right, let's get right into our presentation. I don't know if you've noticed in the news lately, but there is definitely a drop in college, university, and community college enrollments, to about 10 to 12% this year, and it's projected that this could continue even into next year, and who knows after that. Now you might say, oh, there must be something going on with the colleges and universities, something wrong with them, whatever. No, it's not that at all. It's just that this is a different kind of kid that we're dealing with now. The Gen Z kids, they want it here and now. They like we hear what they're holding out for middle management. They want to move right up the ladder right away. They don't want to go to school 4, 5, 6 years to get into a career where they can make some good money. They want it quickly. And that's why you're seeing a rise in enrollments in the trade schools and those kind of programs. They just, these kids, they're not lazy. They want to make money, but they just don't see themselves going to school that long to have to learn this trade. They want something quicker. So it's just a changing student now, and what they're looking for, what they're wanting. And it's something that we as educators, we have to stand up and take notice on what's working for them. According to a survey by Stanley Black & Decker, 85% of young people value a skilled trades career. Now, that's great, but only 16% are pulling the trigger. They decide they want to make it a career, and that's startling. You think, why is there such a difference there? Well, part of it, I think, is on us. We've got to do a better job of selling the program to them, letting them know exactly what the required skills are for skilled trades. What they're being told is, oh, these are hobbies. These are things that you can do on the side, or these are backup plans. They're not really careers. Nothing could be further from the truth. These are STEM careers, and they're high in demand, and they pay very well. So we need to do a better job of selling the programs to them. And then the other part is the underrepresentation of women. That's an untapped resource that we're finally starting to tap into a little bit, is getting more women involved in STEM skills. Um, you know, as you see here, young women were 15% less likely to consider a skilled trades career. Why is that? Because they feel like it's a man's world. It's for the guys. It's not for the girls. And that's just not true any longer. And we're doing something at UTI to try to combat that. And I'll talk about that a little bit later in the presentation. So alternatives to traditional education. When we think of the alternatives, we have to remember, what are employers looking for? Well, it's obvious. They're looking for skills. What do you bring to the table? What can you do? When you were hired as the school counselor for your respective school district, you bring a specific set of skills, and that's what that school district was after when they hired you. Well, it's the same way with auto dealerships or collision repair shops or welding shops, whatever. They want to get the best talent they possibly can too. So they're looking for trades. Obviously, the one: can you weld? Can you cut hair? Can you cook? Can you build a house? Can you work on a car? Can you do all those things? Do you have the certifications for that? Well, that's one thing. But the other is the soft skills. Can you communicate it? One of the things that we do at UTI is they take a service writing class where they learn not only how to diagnose the problem, find out what's wrong, but they're also able to communicate that to the customer. Because that is ultimately, that's who you're working for, is that customer. They're the ones that paying for this repair. So you have to be able to communicate to them in terms that they can understand. Go out and lay a bunch of scientific jargon on, they don't understand that. You have to be able to put it in terms they can speak to as well. But that's what's important. And the pandemic has done us no favor with the communication skills with these kids right now. They'll be sitting in the bleachers texting each other, sitting side by side, not talking. You see families out to dinner and they're all on their phones, doing their own thing. They're not talking to each other. So we have to overcome that. We have to encourage the oral and written communications as well as the other soft skills, and let them know that these are just as important as the hard skills that we're pushing. This is a slide, one of my favorites, talking about what employers see versus what the employee sees of themselves. It's kind of entertaining in a way, but it brings up a very strong point. For instance, professionalism and work ethic. You see the employer rated the employee at a proficiency of 42.5%. The employee put themselves at almost 90%. Then you go down to oral written communications that we were just talking about, 41.6%. That's what the employer saw, but the employee saw almost 80%. Wow, that's quite a difference. You're looking at double the numbers. So what's the difference there? Well, I have a theory, and it's just based on the simple fact that when we start, they start getting involved in activities, sports, things like that, that everybody wins. Everybody gets a ribbon, a medal, a trophy. Everybody gets one. They don't learn how to lose. They don't learn how to fail. Now, let's face it. Those of you out there in the audience right now, you've probably failed one time or another in your life, but you learn from it. That's how you get better. You learn from your mistakes. We don't allow kids to do that. We're so worried about their self-esteem. We're afraid to call them out and say, hey, you can do better than this. Hey, this is not the standard that you're capable of. You can do better. It's okay to be able to do that. We don't have to just pat everybody in the back and say, hey, it's okay. You're fine. Oh yeah, that's really good. When in reality, it's not. All we're doing is setting these kids up for failure. So once again, as educators, we have to prepare students for career readiness. That's all there is to it. And to help them understand that when they get into the real world, it's not going to be all roses. There's going to be some thorns in there as well they're going to have to deal with too. This statistic is probably one of the saddest I ever talk about, and it's the number of college graduates that are not using their degree or didn't need it in the first place. I mean, almost half. That's a startling statistic to think about when you think that people are walking around with a bachelor's degree. They put a lot of time, energy, and money into getting that degree, not using it. Go to a car dealership, buy a brand new car, and park it in your garage, and just leave it there. What's the point? Yeah, you guys, I guess you can tell everybody you have a new car, but you're not using it. You don't, there's no purpose for it. And that's what's happening here. Promise you, you go into any Walmart where you live and you can find somebody in there with a bachelor's degree or a master's degree, maybe even higher. I always use the story of my Uber driver in Tennessee, tell me about her master's degree. She just gotten it like 6 or 7 months earlier. She thought it was going to be her road to success. She was going to make more money. She was going to move up the corporate ladder. Everything's going to be great. She said, none of that happened. Said, I just accumulated a lot of debt. She drives an Uber. I thought she just did it part time. Nope, it's her full time position. She says, with it, I can control my time. I can control my money. If I want to work today, I work. If I don't, I don't. If I want to make more money, I drive more. And interesting enough, her boyfriend has a food truck with a bachelor's degree, has a food truck, and together they make about $110,000. So they don't do too bad for themselves. But going back to the same thing, they both have bachelor's degrees that they're not using and in reality didn't need. Trade schools still carry the stigma that it's plan B, it's the backup plan, it's second rate education. It's not as good. And it's just not true any longer. We can't say that. And part of that falls on us too, that when we promote our programs, let's make sure we're promoting all of our programs. We can start with one simple fix that you could do immediately. If you're hosting college fairs at your school, stop. Don't call them college fairs, call them career fairs. Call them something else, but make sure it's including all your students. I get on Instagram a lot and I talk to a lot of school counselors and I watch when they promote their things like that and they'll say something about a college fair. I always have to chime in. I'll say, well, hey, what about the kids not going to college? They come back, well, we mean them too. That's the standard answer I always get. Well, you can't assume that. Say what you mean. So call it a career fair. That way it takes in all your students. All your students feel equal. I mean, I've gone to career fairs all called college fairs then, and all the trade schools booths would be set up in the very back. You couldn't hardly find them. It was just they just kind of put them off to the side, like, yeah, we're promoting skilled trades, but in reality, you're not. They should be up front and center too. Let's promote all of the kids' successes, not just the ones going into the military, not just the ones going off to the 4-year state university or college, wherever it is, but the kids that are going into the cosmetology school, kids going to a culinary school. Why not celebrate their successes too? And that will also get you something else that you need, and that's buy-in from your parents, because the parents want to see their kids' successes celebrated too. So we can't put a label on this saying, well, if it doesn't work out for you to be a vet, you can always be a welder. Anybody can do that. That's not true. It's not true. Not just anybody can do that. These are skilled trades, and we need to give them their due diligence. When you look at this slide, there's one word that really should stand out to you. And that's the word essential. Now, we teach in all these areas. So you might say, oh, yeah, he says essential because they teach it. No, that's not my point here at all. They're essential because think of your life without them. Then you will realize how essential they are. Now, you may look at some of these, like you might look at diesel tech. So why is that significant to me? Well, when you go to the store, you see all these things on the shelves and stuff. How do you think it got there? Through trucks going cross country, getting in there. I mean, the country runs on diesel. So that's important to all of our lives. You might say, well, avionics technician, aircraft mechanic, that's not important to me. Well, maybe not to you, but sure is to me, because I fly thousands of miles every year speaking to counselors and administrators and other types of educators. And so that is very important to me. You might look at a plumber and say, is that really that essential? Well, not until the toilet won't flush. But then all of a sudden it's very important in your life. So I can go on, but these all play a major role in our lives, which is why they're essential. Remember, they were essential before the pandemic, they were essential during the pandemic, and they remain essential. And there's a huge demand in all of these areas. The average tech out there is about 57 years old now. I mean, they're getting to retirement age and they're not getting replaced. We have to make this a priority to make sure that those people that are going to retire do indeed get get replaced. And then we look again, one of the things that we do at UTI is we come into classrooms and we speak to students about career readiness, career pathways in STEM. But it's not enough just to speak to your kids in your career centers, or the interested only kids. You need to speak to all of your kids, kids that you have in your academic classrooms, because they need to see what's out there available to them. Yeah, they may not all come to UTI. That's not my point here. But my point is they need to know what's out there available to them. For instance, you look at the very last one, non-destructive testing. I'm sure that very few, if any of you, know what that is. I didn't either until we acquired MIAT last fall. So non-destructive testing after a hurricane, after a flood, after a tornado, after a earthquake, any kind of a major catastrophe, these buildings have to be tested to see if people can go back in. And so that's what non-destructive testing does. It tests them to see if they're safe. You go across a bridge. I've always figured, well, I went across the bridge, you didn't fall in. It's a pretty good day. But these bridges, they get cars after car after truck after bus, all these going across these bridges over. It takes its toll on that structure after a while. It has to be tested. So there's a great example that your students may not even know is an opportunity for them. CNC machining. Many of you probably don't even know what CNC stands for, computer numerical control. But it's important, making parts for machinery. 3D printing would be another example. Those are all important, and possible career opportunities, and your kids wouldn't even know they exist. So that's why the workshops we do are so vital, because it reaches all your students to let them know, hey, what's out there. I don't know if you realize or not, but it's projected that by 2030, 80% of the jobs that will be here then are not here now. It's changing constantly. And so we have to keep kids updated on what's available to them. They might find a career pathway that they didn't even know existed, and they show a huge interest in. Now, as I said earlier, I wanted to show you a little bit about what we're doing at UTI to get more women in STEM. Last year, you recall I mentioned to you that we partnered with Ignite Worldwide, and this year we have branched out on our own to expand this program even further into the campuses. In fact, my colleague Jerry Elner just had a one last week in Arizona. I think it's about last week, maybe 2 weeks ago, in Arizona, had 146 girls there. So it's really amazing. But what we do is we host these women in STEM skilled trades conferences. Last year, we had 8 live conferences at 8 different campuses, had over 1,000 girls attend to our UTI campus. We wanted to see what a true STEM campus looks like. We also hosted a virtual STEM skilled trades conference, had over 200 girls attend that virtual event from 8 different high schools. So definitely a success in reaching out to these girls, letting them realize what is available to them, and how they can go about getting into these type of careers. For instance, our campus in Mooresville, North Carolina, that's where we had our STEM conference, where we won the award through ACCSC, which is our accrediting body, and it was the community involvement award that we got. So we were very excited about that. And so you can see on this screen, for instance, up in the upper right-hand corner, you see these girls. They're actually in a pit crew class. I'm sure when they got up that morning, they had no idea that they were going to be learning how to change cars on a simulated race car. But here they are changing those tires out. I mean, just exposing these girls to things that, excuse me, they didn't know they had available to them. And that's the whole purpose of this, is to show the girls they have a desire there, but they just don't know what to do with it. And one of the things that we do is we have panels at each one of our events, and we get these top women in STEM, like for instance, Kristen Labani, who's a founder of Breaking Limits and president, Sophie Fox of Women in Wheels, Brooke Ulrich, UTI graduate, Madison Conrad and Jennifer Lefevre, both of Roush Yates Engines. Amazing women, but this is where the girls, they don't have any role models to look up to. And so, you think about it, how many girls do you know that are welders, that are plumbers, that are auto technicians or diesel technicians, You see a road crew working on the side of the road. You don't see any women there. And if you do, they're holding the stop sign. So this gives the girls a chance to ask these women, hey, how did you do it? What made you successful? What did your parents say? Did people make fun of you? Those kind of questions. That's what's on their minds because they're going into an area it's kind of uncomfortable. Not a lot, they don't have a lot of their friends going into this area. And so they want some reassurance. So that's why these conferences have become so important to the girls because it gives them an avenue to find out more about getting involved in STEM careers. The best part, though, is the cards that we have them fill out at the end. Here's one young lady. She writes, I like watching cars go fast, but wow, today I couldn't stop smiling. I was intrigued with everything. I had no idea how I would start a job in this career. No, I can think is to apply here after high school. She is so excited. But once again, she had her eyes open that day. She had no idea that this was possible for her. And all of a sudden, she found out she does. So that's the purpose here. We got to get more involved. So, if you have a this kind of event, near where you live, something because we've done these before at Exton, we've done before at Bloomfield, and so which is our two campuses in your area. So please make sure you make it a priority to get the girls over there because it's a great event for them to get to witness what happens there. These are alliances with our manufacturers. We're the only school in the country that can make this statement. We have over 35 alliances with manufacturers. Some schools may have one or two, but we have over 35. But the reason why I point this out to you is because if you're not getting industry involved in your schools, that's a big miss for you. Get industry involved. We come in, we have a truck and trailer that we'll bring to your school. We do things like that. We have industry days where we have them at a dealership or something, and we invite students, their parents, and school counselors, administrators to come in as well too, so they can see what it's like. But industry wants to partner with you because they want your students eventually as future employees. So they're willing to work with you any way possible. So make it a priority to get industry involved. We use industry all the time with what we do. So you should be doing it as well. It's a great avenue for you. Now, I know all of you get scholarships filled out by your students by the hundreds. I know you do. You probably don't even want to hear this next part, but I think I do know better. You don't. So one of the things that we do is we offer a tuition reimbursement incentive program. We have over 5,000 trip employers nationwide. For instance, in New Jersey, one of the biggest ones we have is Ray Katina, and huge program there. I mean, it's close to $40,000 package offered to our graduates upon graduation. What they're incentives to so they can get the best techs they possibly can. But it gives the students a chance to get their education paid for. These packages are anywhere from $10,000 up to $40,000 that they offer. It's just amazing. Now they don't just give those away. You got to earn them. They want students that have good attendance, good professionalism, good work ethic. That's who they're looking for. That's who they want to hire. So they're willing to offer these packages. They're willing to invest in these kids. And so simply what they do is when they get their paycheck, they get another check on top of that. And that is to be used towards their student loans or towards tools. And they're going to need $40,000 in tools by the time it's all said and done. So this is a way to get those things paid for. So it's proven to be a very good program for our students. These are locations nationwide, of course, out in the Northeast. We have our campus in Exton, Pennsylvania, and our campus in New Jersey. And while I'm on the subject of the campus in Exton, we have a couple of things coming up. One is on Monday, this coming Monday, December 19th, we're hosting the Lehigh Valley Skills USA District Welding Competition at the Exton campus. So once you know about that, and then we're going to be hosting on February the 11th, which will be here before you know it, we'll be hosting our second annual Auto Challenge competition. This event, what's interesting about it, it's specifically created for a student who has limited or no hands-on or automotive experience. I get that asked all the time. So it's a great opportunity for them to come learn, complete some basic hands-on skills with autos and diesels, that kind of thing, and potentially win some grant money on top of that too. So no experience necessary. Just come as you are. Starts at 9 a.m. and there'll be a flyer coming out for that too. So Sean wanted me to mention that to you all as well too of what's coming up. So with that, so So what does UTI do? We offer non-baccalaureate career opportunities, active project-based learning, emphasis on professionalism. We give uniforms, we expect them to wear them and conduct themselves that way. History of graduate success, we have over 220,000 graduates. Graduation rate, I don't know if you know this or not, but the national graduation rate of all post-secondary schools is about 48%. Ours is in the mid to upper 60%. Huge difference. Graduation rate, we place over 4 out of 5 graduation rate, as I just said, placement rates, what I meant to say. Placement rate, we place over 4 out of 5 of our graduates into the chosen field, so we're very proud of that. We're Title IV funded. That means you fill out a FAFSA to see if you qualify for not financial aid. We have over $15 million in scholarships and grants. We even have grants to help with housing. Exton campus has housing. The Bloomfield campus does not, but we help with housing. Then, of course, our national presence and industry relationships are very important as well. And then finally, here's my contact information. Feel free to email me, text me, or follow me on Instagram, stevecoyle2793. Follow me, I'll follow you back. I promise. I love to partner with school counselors all over the country. You know, that's the key. That's what we love to do. We love to partner with you. We offer a buffet of opportunities. I offer professional development. If you want me to come in to speak with your staff, I'd be glad to do that. We come in to do workshops in your schools. We do bus tours. We have the truck and trailer. We just have a lot of things we can use to partner with you. But you know you've really made it in life when you have your own QR code. So there's my QR code. So feel free to reach out to me, snap a picture of that. I can't thank you enough for your time today. And like I said earlier, you're busy people. I know it. So thank you for the time. And best of luck for the rest of your school year and happy holidays.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Coyle. We are now going to open this up for the Q&A portion of our presentation. So if you have a question for Dr. Coyle or myself, please feel free to type it in the chat feature or the Q&A feature. Dr. Coyle, this person wants to know, we get this question often, about cost comparisons and just the difference between UTI and community college. What would you say is the biggest difference?
Well, first of all, we are not a community college. Don't pretend to be, don't want to be. I mean, we are our own entity in what we do. People oftentimes say, oh, you do the same things. No, we do not. The biggest difference would be the devotion to manufacturer specific training. That's what we really focus on. And with all the licensed manufacturers, that's a huge difference. Number two is the time you're going to be in school. You know, our programs generally average about a year in length, give or take, depending upon the program. Community college, you're going to be there 2 to 3 years regardless. Doesn't matter what, you're going to be there. The number of actual training hours in a community college, you're looking at probably 400 to 450 actually training hours. At UTI, you're looking at over 1,500 training hours. So that's a huge difference in itself too. Yeah. And then finally, you know, the trip program that we offer, that's a huge win for students because it gives you the potential to go to school and have your school paid for, because these employers are willing to invest in you, but they're looking for highly trained technicians. They're not going to hire just anybody. That's why they look to our techs for to hire.
Yeah, that's right. You gotta work for it. Okay. Next question. Actually, can you just reiterate the event coming up at the Exton location?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we had two things. Monday, the 19th, December 19th, we're hosting the Lehigh Valley Skills USA District Welding Competition. But the biggest one though is the second annual Auto Challenge competition. That's on February the 11th. Starts at 9 a.m. This is for students that, and I get this. They say, well, hey, do you have to have a lot of experience come in? No, you don't. And so this event helps to solidify that, so kids can see that, you know, they just like cars, but they don't know much about working on them or anything. So this gives an opportunity to come in and learn a few basic skills and maybe even win some grant money that they could use towards an education at UTI.
That's fantastic. Awesome. So February 11th. Okay. Just a few house cleaning items here. Number one, we've recorded this session. I'll be forwarding it to all of you likely tomorrow morning. There is a quick follow-up survey when you leave this meeting. If you wouldn't mind providing us with some feedback, that would be greatly appreciated. We do presentations like this one all over the country. So anything maybe you would have liked to have heard but didn't hear, or something that you took away from this presentation, if you could let us know, that would be very beneficial to us. Before closing, I just want to thank all of you for taking time out of your busy schedules to join us today. And I'd also like to thank Dr. Coyle for sharing with us today's presentation and encourage you to contact him directly with any future questions you may have. And I will include his contact information in the email that I send to you tomorrow with the recording of this presentation. But on behalf of the Imagine America Foundation, Dr. Coyle and myself, I want to wish you a great rest of your day and happy holidays. Thank you.